exactly what I said at the Shiur, but someone quoted me. The Rabbi asked me that I said there is no Isser if you walk with your wife holding hands if there are no from the clan watching. So this Rabbi claims, I just going to say his conversation, he said it's not a Chassidish Zach. So I said, I explained to him that where it comes from. It's the din that we know how to show affection from the others is because it's based on a Gemara. First of all, the Gemara doesn't say it's possible. The Gemara says you shouldn't do it. Based on a very interesting Gemara, Masechta Basa, and the Gemara says that Banua was the one who he went around making sure where the Kavarim is and the bottom. So he went to Oros HaMachpelah, and he wanted on top of the Oros HaMachpelah to put a sign where Avram is buried, Sarah is buried. So he went down and he knocked on the door. Knocks on the door, and the Gemara says that Abraham was about to answer the door. He asked, "Can I let Rabbi Noah in?" He asked Avram Avinu. So Avram says, "What's the problem?" Because Sarah was sitting in his lap, and Avram was checking her head for lice. So the Gemara says, what does the Gemara means exactly? I don't know, but the Gemara says, Avram says, "Don't worry, he's not gonna think about anything because we're dead people. The next word is no Yetzer Hara." So here, it means not going to cause him to hit her. You see a husband and wife walking hand in hand, another person thinks about it. So it's not going to cause because the next world, when there's a lot, so they don't have a Yetzer Hara. So here the Gemara says, from here you learn, you're not supposed to do it in front of from people. But if you're walking not in front of from people, and that doesn't apply, there's no Isser of going seeing you. There's nothing halachically, nothing wrong whatsoever. So it's not Chassidish Zach. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the Shlich tried to explain to me. It's not Chassidish Zach, but in halacha, it's perfectly okay.
How come the Gerah said they walk the pace ahead of their wives? Is that the same kind of Chassidish concept? Is that true? That's just the rule. You see it. You see it all the time.
I have no idea what it means. I have no idea. It's a true fact, but I don't know what it means.
But at the chuppah they walk holding hands though.
That's something else.
The dafka, right? I'm saying so there's. Is that not considered public affection?
Well, that's a famous question, and it's based on old minig, because see the problem is that if you know his walking hands don't look, not you see, but the thing is, but the reason why they do it, they're Chassidim are very makbid about this. It's based on, there's nothing to do with Chassidim. This minig is brought down over 400 years old, where the Chassan, right after they not always make the Edison and then the Vatzman, they would make it differently. But whenever they made under the Chuppah, so they need an Yichud, so the Chassan grabbed the Kala's hand and showed he's in charge. He's the boss.
You shouldn't run away, it's a king.
What? It's a king. That's right. It's an old minig. The minhagim is not important, but you can't asa. I don't like when people say things are asa for no reason. You want to be machar, be machar. You want to be a gerachos, be a gerachos. We can't tell people, chumras, but I always tell people it's good to know what the halacha is and what not the halacha is. That's why in front of a woman it doesn't apply. People have asked me, I'm allowed to hug my wife in front of the children. So I say, if you have girls, it's not a problem. If you have boys, people are makbid. It's not an issue. It's nothing.
If you're in front of boyish boys, it doesn't matter.
Why?
Because there's no thing. A goy is allowed to look at pornography, believe it or not. A Jew is not allowed. A goy could watch, but not let him be addicted to it from morning to night. But that is a goy. A goy does not tell you that. There's nothing. A goy is allowed to watch any movie and there's nothing wrong. A goy is only. Torah doesn't have the Torah says that's our privilege. Torah wants us to stay away from these things. So Torah doesn't have it. I'm afraid to say something, but I'm not saying it's okay, but someone asked me a few years ago, a wealthy guy, and he wanted to know if he's allowed to invest money in pornography. He wasn't going to do it, but there's someone who does it. And I asked him to, that's when he the first time told me that, it's really frightening, he told me that the biggest business on the internet is pornography. I didn't know that. But I said, look, you're a wealthy person. You know, I can't tell you it's usher. No one could make it to tell you a point halacha because you can't say it in Evid, there's so much out there. But it's hard to me to say there's going to be a simon bracha in your money. I can't say it's usher.
A Hilchos simon, he just wants the money.
Simon bracha, believe it or not, he's not so religious.
He'll do it.
You know, I said I can't say it's usher. They're going to have a problem. And most, unfortunately Jewish people, for Jewish birth, there's only the thing with Evid. There's so much out there, it's not you doing it, it's like, but as a simon bracha, it's hard to imagine.
Is that worse than a nursing home that's open on Shabbos? You know what I mean? Like it's.
Well, it's not true.
I'm saying we always in this class we always said that God wants Jews to make money.
Yeah, but simon bracha means you're doing something which is against the derech eretz. You know what I mean? That's crazy things. You can find such concept. We need a nursing home. Let's face it, it's something. It's a need. You know what I mean? You need to have a old age home. It's not something a luxury. Maybe she should help. I have an old mother, let her be healthy. It's frightening. It's a great thing that we have in America. But to do things which is it's not. And God doesn't have an issue. But to say
That's Shishka Mitzvah.
no, but he's right. But he's asking, Daniel is asking. If it's okay, it's okay. But you fight some concept, but you do things. I remember there's such a chazal someplace after Tishmayim where a guy did business which was against society. Something you can't say it's also. It's like the famous Lida Chosed. He says, Genevis Akim in certain cases is okay, but he says you never saw people have a simon bracha. Never, which is true. I've watched this. I'm not old, still young, but I've seen people who thought they made big business on these tricks about Genevis Akim and searching. They're going to see a simon bracha. Mitzvah L'Shmaim is a business. All of you know that better than I. Do a business. You need the extra help of Hashem that should be successful.
What's the difference between simon bracha and bracha?
Simon bracha means that certain things the Baruch wants to be successful. This means Hashem wants old age homes to exist. It's a need. Nursing homes exist. Food business exists. Lawyers, certain things are needed. You don't need to have pornography. It's not a need, so it's not a need.
But the step when you're trying to
Simon bracha means that the Baruch makes a bracha. This is a place where bracha could be chal. Chal means take effect. What was the question?
You just wanted to clarify this bracha, simon bracha.
Simon bracha is always the word simon bracha means where certain things that the Rebbe Shalom wants it to be a success. It is a need for society.
That's the need of simon.
So it's a simon for the bracha because it's in something it's a need. So there will be a bracha. Certain things like.
So working on Friday afternoon doesn't have a simon bracha.
That is because you don't have to work so late. You know what I mean? That's Shabbos. It's a Hanukkah Shabbos, so you should know. Okay.
By the way, on the subject, I saw the Rav Kreidman came here again to do a bris on Shabbos, and he showed us his disposable knife. And so once it's machmas chasar and kiss before he uses it, but once he uses it, he can throw it away.
Once you want, so how to bring it? Is
No, there's no.
No, but he has it disposable, so it's not expensive. You said expensive disposable.
No, it's a plastic.
Disposable is not expensive at all.
Yeah.
Little metal piece at the
So
top.
really, I should tell old Malam, like there's all the coolest they have. Trade they
Better
have.
to use this than to be.
There'll be so many coolest. The Malam told me that all old generation, all was so many coolest. So my answer always was, that the boy was not going to come and leave his things there. So nowadays they would come. It's a full panos, which is a good zach, not making do. Even though you should know that it's a question of what is allowed to take money. The Gemara says Yerape, The Khan, Sheditn, Leshis, Rishon, Rabbi. So the Rishonim have to kasha. Why does the Torah have to give you permission? You know, there's an Eben Ezra, the frightening Eben Ezra. Eben Ezra says the reason the Torah have to give you permission is when Hashem sends you a makkah, you're not able to go to the doctor, he says. Got the flu, can't go to the doctor. The Torah is giving you permission, someone punches you in the nose, that's when you can go to the doctor. But if you're going to the Eben Ezra, there's someone, the Rosh sends a person an illness, the Rambam says a person who thinks that way is a fool. I don't want to say we're sharper, it's a shaita, a fool, a
You go to the
tippish.
doctor and get.
You go to the doctor, you know. So what did the Torah have to say? So the Torah Rosh learns, the Torah gave you permission to take money. A doctor is not allowed to take money, he's doing a mitzvah. You're sick, it's helping you to get back. It's like a Shiurim. So maybe you should only take Schabbatela. The doctor doesn't take Schabbatela. You know what I mean? So the Rosh learns the doctors are allowed to take money because the Torah made it okay for a doctor to take money. So moil for bar mitzvah is really not allowed to take money. But the truth is, the reason I tell people to pay their moil and take a fashion today, the meal became so much better. So it became a professional job. And you see Shuvas the Choyim, which the Bishala, one time Harashala, moil didn't do. The father brought me 2-year-old child. It was a big question. The meal was not correct. You know, and used to be in Europe, this was all the time. There's a small deadful, everyone was a mother, and everyone was a doctor. You know, small deadful, religions. You know, Rabbi said everyone was a doctor, everyone was a mother. Imagine. Okay.
And a lawyer, Hashem Saveda.
What do you
And
say?
a lawyer, sometimes it can also be Hashem Saveda. He's just, but then someone stole money from me, and I can't or someone, he's just helping me get my money back.
Sure, certain cases.
And there's no Rabbi by the lawyer. The Torah didn't give you Rishus to take money to leave Hashem Saveda. Different kind of lawyer.
Okay. Where we up to Lamites? Okay. He says, Ava Machet, Shnei Chudon. A pin that you took the chud means the pointer, a chud shaloi, the hole that was taken out. Muktzeh the Tauber, he says, but we should put the Torah skating in many. It's not a keli anymore. The Ein Doyle Shiver the Shal Ken Shiftum the Tiltul, Hoiri and Tashtu Shacha. He says a pen needle. What happened was if the hole was missing or the point was missing, they used to throw it away. And even in the good old days, used to save everything. This they threw away. So he says, that's not the derech to put it away. A dark shul of Nizorke being is between the junk. Mashi came Shiv Shakrish Kin Liyach and Tashvish Achen Nivkashem Kelim. So this doesn't apply nowadays. This is a very important halacha. Nowadays, anything that breaks, we throw away. Really, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, you know, we see it all the time. You know, things people break and just don't think twice and get another one. So that's why anything that's not normally kept, it's junk, it's muktzeh. Forget it. If a person hoards, he's got emotional problems. He puts everything in the garage. Went to look for a house many years ago. He says this guy has a problem. He hoards everything in the garage. I mean, he just kept all his junk in the garage. I'm saying today, everything we throw. That's what it's today. It's most things that break is muktzeh. I don't have a emotion that should not be muktzeh. Okay. If you do designate it, it becomes a keli. If you designate this something between Shabbos, then it's not muktzeh. Since it became used to put it away for something.
It's a good question. So the glass on the floor, and the broken glass on the floor.
Broken glass on the floor will soon learn. A lot of clean up because it's dangerous.
It's a gun.
It's not enough. Even in the Shusarab, a lot of people in the shul, you're allowed to pick it up. In Shusarab, you're allowed to move it. Puchas, daladamas. If many Jewish people are going to be walking there, or in a shul, Or the Kabbalists with Zosha Rabbi, they are literally pick it up and just put it away. Because for a Rabbi, when it's a danger, we're allowed to bring Talta Muktzeh.
So at home, do you have to do shinui or just?
No, if it's danger, you have young children, that's your Rabbi, just sweep up the broken glass.
Good question. Happens the whole time, yeah.
Yeah, and look at Muktzeh, you have to remember safety is the first and foremost. You have small children, even adults. Even adult children. Imagine breaking a glass in the kitchen. You're going to remember that what happens is someone's going to walk out, early in the morning. That is, step is on. And,
Something that has sentimental value, it may not be worth much. If you want to keep it, even though it broke, that then becomes a daily.
if you designate it before Shabbos,
No, not before Shabbos, on Shabbos it breaks.
but it's certain thing that most people will have sentimental value, you decide to have sentimental value.
Well, things that are sentimental value are valueless. You have a piece of junk that you got from somewhere and it has sentimental value.
Every time I made a good point, no?
No, but there is things that if you have something with grandfather with junk, you want to put it away.
Right. Everyone is grandfather.
Everyone might put it away, but if you have, I don't have a good notion, but you're the type that because this class was at a ball game, so we're being sentimental. Most people don't look at it that way. It has to be that people keep it as sentimental value.
Not to the person.
No, but that's a good example. If someone keeps a cup that he went to a baseball game and it's a cup he got from the game and it breaks, he's going to be upset, but he still might want to keep it as a memento.
So that's a machlekes nechayim. Some nechayim learn that you can make something on Muktzeh. Let me explain what he's asking. Something breaks on Shabbos. Normally, you throw it to the garbage. So he decided on Shabbos to designate it for Katie. Forget sentimental. Nowadays, anything that breaks, we just throw it away. You decided, I'm not throwing this away on Shabbos. So if you decide Erev Shabbos that it's okay, because you're one of those people who are going to save it. So some hold, yes, you can decide on Shabbos and become not Muktzeh. Few, certain. Some hold, I was trying to be this in the Rab, but it's not clear because it doesn't say you have to be the Rab doesn't say clearly you have to make the Yacha before Shabbos. Now some Achronim hold that you could on Shabbos decide, I'm going to use this honestly, not just, someone uses the Shabbos, then it's not Muktzeh. Okay. The truth of Muktzeh, even though it's a long discussion, nowadays Muktzeh became easier because either it's Muktzeh or not Muktzeh. And it's not like you have this complicated situations and it's generally speaking, it's Muktzeh, generally speaking. On those days there have really lots of things going on. Someone asked me a few weeks ago, someone asked me that there's a quick machlokes in the Achronim, a notebook, if it's Muktzeh. Let's say you have an expensive notebook and you're writing, you're taking, someone asked me, he takes the 12-step program, so he has got a notebook, special notebook, writing his notes in the 12-step.
Some kids.
I asked him, it's not expensive, but it's for him very important. But the half of it is empty. The first half is not a problem. Is a Muktzeh of the second half. He doesn't want it to be lost, and he wants those pages there, and it's divided in weeks, it explained to me, and how...
So that doesn't have a din of a sefer?
Well, the sefer is okay, but this is empty pages. This is not written. That chelik is Muktzeh. It's a bit machlokes in the Achronim. Somehow it's a problem, somehow it's not a problem.
Every sefer has empty pages at the end.
Yeah, but it's not naked to do with it. But
So if you're in the middle of writing a book and you want to just read it on Shabbos, in the middle of writing a book, then some question say
that's what the question. If you have a loose leaf, the kids say. If your teenagers want to take out a loose leaf and have a bunch of papers which are not used, that's a Shalom.
Practically, the kids want to review their notes on Shabbos.
Some hold it's Muktzeh, some hold it's not Muktzeh. The other ones hold it not Muktzeh, hold the empty pages is straight inexpensive.
What do we do?
So because it's inexpensive, therefore what?
Does not specific. I asked my wife, paper is very cheap.
So my daughter comes home from school. She has a checklist of things she has to do on Shabbos, and after Shabbos we check off if she did certain things, and she can send it back to the teacher. Is that Muktzeh on Shabbos?
No. Shabbos, not
It's
Muktzeh.
because I have
Well,
to add
anyway,
to it.
Yeah, that's after
But
Shabbos.
going back to your notebook, if you had a nice notebook, that was an expensive notebook, and it was empty, so that would be an example
So in case.
of where it's concerned, so it's really a problem, because there's no use for it on Shabbos, it's empty.
That was,
But
and
what
half-
happens
The question is when it's half and half,
Okay,
right?
so a few pages written. You want to read over what you wrote. I'll tell you the truth, I write down what I speak Shabbos, so I don't want to repeat myself next year, and I'll look what I wrote in my notebook like that.
Wait a minute, Chatzar, you can still move from a coma, no?
Son
and
kiss.
Slachia.
Son kiss is.
Oh, because of the expense, that's expensive, alright.
That's the only thing that I think today. Everything else is either, everything else. The only thing that really is son kiss, we thought of that, is the iPad, the smartphone, and
And the point is
computer.
like,
But the most things are, catch after this, it's not, I took a survey, I asked in my shul, would you like your children play with your smartphone? Everyone said no. Everyone, I have one guy who told me that's his wife. So if everyone said no, absolutely not. Even though, that makes it some kiss. Okay, let's move on. I just want to send out a quick shout out. It's been frightening me, someone called me Friday. I don't know if it's so much a gay, but it's important to know this. And they realize people, I don't know how this neighborhood, in our neighborhood they have shiksas. I don't know, we have a full-time housekeeper, fancy word, we call it shiksas.
that was just to make it clear with people that listen in Brazil, when they say about shiksa, they have something else in mind. That was the clarification. That was the,
Oh, okay. So the question is, the housekeeper does the shopping. So a guy calls me up and he says to me that his housekeeper, does for his mother when parents are shopping, all the people, and normally, he calls him up, how much was the bill, and he asks, he doesn't even look at the bill. This time the housekeeper says, lost the bill. He says, is there a problem with the food? I said, you never go and check what the bill is? Well, they're very wealthy, so a big deal, so it charges more. But maybe she bought it in house. How do you know she bought it? They have people,
the kasha is very,
kashkas, they have people who go shopping. I told the people, my neighbor all the time, have the maid go into the Rabbi kosher and put it on your account. Finish. Don't give money, and she has to bring you the bill. You know from the bill. There's nothing. You don't give her money to go buy. You don't pay back. It's very geschmack. So she doesn't get paid for it. She goes into her house. I'm not paying her. You know what I'm saying? You have an account in the store, but if you send the shiksa, you have to have a similar she bought it. I say if she doesn't, you don't have an account, you have to bring a bill from the store.
what I said, everything comes at the end of the month. It comes
Fish.
down to half a single.
She bought fish.
Okay.
There's no idea where you bought it. How do you know where you bought the fish? This is very, very important. I don't know if you.
I don't think it's that
It
negative.
didn't make it yet. Well, Mir Tashem, one day we'll make it.
Because there are people who are, I know in my neighborhood are people who are young people also went to the shopping, send the house to do the shopping. Believe it or not, people do. I'm saying it's very important. That means there's no problem. I'm going to make this clear. There is no problem to leave the house with the housekeeper if she cannot cook. She's afraid to cook. Because the housekeeper is going to steal. He's not going to bring food from home and exchange it. I always explain that. I always tell someone asked me, there was a Shom Zocha, and I come to the Shom Zocha, they asked me that a guy put down food by the door, and only 2 hours later he picked it up. Maybe it's not kosher. So he says, you think that someone came and exchanged it? If he stole it, he stole it. If not, he left it. The TSA, you're missing something from your luggage, you never took an expensive camera, put it in a cheap camera. Never happens. The shiksa never takes your pocket pennies and cheap them instead. Either she steals or she doesn't. The only problem is when a housemaid is, you have to make careful that she shouldn't cook. You should be afraid to cook. Because they do cook. People have told me to catch the cooking. Okay. So the Rabbi. In Machat Chedusha, Shalit v'dai mitte the Tauber tzerich gufay. And if you should put them with the nimmer gelei menicha kabel in eke, you leave it that way, and miyachdan it is the cuts. He designated. The chayim yeshtoy des keilei, afshadan liyavdam, mashik yishinit, v'chudam de bezorgim and enkelutuis. So, all these things, it's just what the derech is. I'm not sure if we should go into detail. The next halacha is the same thing. It talks about mechazal, you left over a big, a difference, you left over cloth, or you left over a piece of a rug. Today, if you have a piece of a rug, that's not a poor person, a rich person, you throw it out. I don't want to go into no details. We live in a whole different world now. I never saw anyone keep a small piece of a rug. Because according to rich people, it has to be 3 tvachim. By us, 3 tvachim is babkas. And by us, you have a piece of rug, and if it's not straight, your wife is going to throw it out. Finish. Poor, not poor, and it goes out. It's not so much here. I think we should go further. That's the members. This is important halacha for other things. Manul, a shoe. See, they used to have a shoe made on a form. And so the question is that the form is called a keli shamach teresa. When I was young, I used to watch a shoemaker put the shoe, and I don't see those things anymore nowadays. I've been seeing in LA. But the kids said that to put it, fix the shoe. So form, that's called the keli shamach teresa. That's very important. And even though, it's not expensive, even though you're not doing the malacha with that form, it's very important. This is one of the eyes that are showing by keli shamach teresa doesn't mean that I have a hammer. But if something is just passive, there's also a pot doesn't do the malacha. The fire does the malacha to it. A candle holder doesn't do the malacha. The candle burning in it is just passive. It's called keli shamach teresa here too. All I do is I have a form that holds the shoe, and I bang, make the tab sing. That's called the keli shamach teresa. So the Shiurim explaining, try to take the shoe off the thing, not this. Because that's Muktzeh. If you can't, you're allowed to take it out because it's called tzorich mekoymoi. Put your foot in. That means I need a place to put my foot in. So if I have this thing holding there, that's why I said once here before that many places can hold. If I want to sleep in the room and the light is on, the lamp is on. If you have a long cord to the lamp, you have to put the lamp into the closet because it's a keli shamach teresa. It's a mekoymoi. Most of the we'll get to it why Mechazal wasn't that way. But a lamp today is called the keli shamach teresa. So if we're allowed to pick it up, unless it's an expensive lamp and your wife doesn't let it move around. But if it's a regular cheap lamp which gets moved around, touched around, so theoretically you have to pick it up and put it into the closet because I need this place to sleep. It's too much light, I cannot sleep.
The fact that this can make hundreds of shoes doesn't make it sunkis.
Sunkis means the object is very expensive. It's not expensive. So, you know what it is? It's a metal, I don't know what it's called. What would you call it?
Let's say it is
You have
expensive.
4 shoes.
Yeah, but that's not chesed. Sunkis means you don't want it to be touched. Your phone, you don't want your children play with it. Right? Because you don't want it to break. It's expensive and you're careful, you put it away. Let's say you make 1,000 shoes with this, but it's not expensive. You're gonna let your
It's
children
not
play with it.
fragile. It's not fragile.
Not fragile, right? Something that's fragile.
Sunkis means fragile.
Right. Something means because it's expensive, you wouldn't let anyone play with it. You put it away. Okay. So manol ben chudish beyushish behidig al tvis mit the shamte memeni. You'll have to take it out. Bein the shipment that fis mit tochanal ben shamam tal tvis. Ein kan is betil tal tvis. Bishat tvis yeshur shem keli shemlacht le isse and mit the tal tzerich mekoymoi. Chalula shalamal shetis betzerich. You'll have to take it out. Very interesting. The Ra does not say the Chetchila. All the other Chachamim say that. I don't know how to dive into the Ra why he didn't say that. I just want to say another thing, that there's a question that nowadays I haven't seen it. You know that people used to put things into the shoe to make it look straight and not
A shoehorn.
Not shoehorn, a shoe tree.
Shoe trees.
It still exists?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a big machlokes if you're out going to the shul. But everyone agrees if it's only made to keep it in a form, just to keep it, then it's okay. But if it's made to stretch or to, that's like making a cake, then it's also. I remember.
But if it's in there, you can take it out.
What?
If it's in there, you can take it out.
We're just putting it in. So if you have it to it's not just to keep it in the form, but to looks like
Most of them are with the form.
yeah, most of them. I remember as a young child, my father, unfortunately, was Shiurim, had very deformed legs from the camps, that was frostbitten legs, and every time he had to buy new shoes, they had to give him something to make the. So later years, they made special shoes to fit. But in the beginning, you had to, the toe hair and the toe hair sticky. They put such a thing to stretch the full shoe. There's such a thing. Okay. Again, Mem Gimel is not a gear. So is Mem Dalet. I'll just tell you what it says. Those days they had sandals, and even if the ripped, you couldn't use it. You would save it for the leather. You can imagine. So the whole machlok is after ripped so badly becomes muktzeh. So all you want to just might find some use for the leather, but it's not a cave. So there's an interesting kul over here. It says that if you're an Carmelis, which is a rabbin, you don't want to lose it. You're allowed to tie with grass that shoe. Came muktzeh, it ripped so badly, but you're allowed to tie with certain grass on your foot and to move it. So there's a question in the Achronim, what type of a muktzeh would the matter over here? Real muktzeh, not real muktzeh? It's a big, big, famous question. They learn that since it's on your foot already, so you're allowed to tie grass to hold it on and then come to a place where no one's going to steal it, you got to shake it off and leave it there.
When the glasses breaks, this handle
Wait a
breaks.
minute, that's a whole other
Same thing with water.
Yeah, that's the next send over here. Okay, let's look at Mem Vov. That's also Negeya. It used to be Negeya, but we don't have Mem Vov.
We have it.
So Mem Vov is talking about laundry. And I want to first explain something which the Chachamim speak about. This question always comes up. First of all, you're allowed to put things into the dryer before Shabbos and let it dry. Now, everyone quotes to me in the Moshe and Yeshua says you're not allowed to. Well, the Moshe and Yeshua held you're not allowed to use a time clock to make the lights go on. But the meaning is to have the air conditioning go on with the time clock and then the lights go on with the time clock. So you're allowed to put before Shabbos things into the dryer and let it dry. On Shabbos.
Even if it makes a lot of noise?
Even though it makes noise. Well, how bad is the noise?
What's wrong with the noise?
I thought
It's not a sign.
If it's very noisy, then it's a machlokes.
Right.
Of course not.
Now, it goes to very noisy.
Shishman said because of noise for some reason.
Maybe 10 years ago, yours is still so noisy?
No.
Oh, today you don't even hear it.
What's the problem with noise over Tauber?
Noisy, there's 2 days in Shulchan as option also. It's noisy is a problem, it's a problem up here.
A problem because of what?
People are going to say you put it on shelves to their neighbors.
Right.
That's an option, but today's dryers, even though we get our washing machine is
Even a noisy one that is noisy, you don't hear it outside the house.
Yeah, but you see the steam.
Here also don't. See the steam?
steam.
Not anymore. She goes into a.
Unless if you do it in the middle of the day, in this weather.
You see the steam coming up. I don't know. But noise, it's not noisy. The new ones. Yours are noisy? I don't know. But the truth is, but the question is this way: wet clothing is muktzeh. But since you know it's going to get dry, it's not muktzeh.
Even better washes.
Since you better wash it was wet, you put it on. Ram is soaking because there's a thing gomri b'dei odom. Gomri b'dei since you know it's going to dry. But this is very much again. You guys have young children, Baruch Hashem. I remember this all the time. It's right before Shabbos. Throw the washing, throw it to the dryer, You're allowed to open the dryer, take out the clothing on Shabbos.
My dryer and the light.
That's a problem. That's a light, it's a problem.
Take out the light.
So what, but I would apply this to like a clothesline. If you had wet clothes.
So this is how Shulchan
You put it on
Aruch talks about wet
clothesline.
clothesline. You remember those? You remember such a thing?
Melissa has one.
In Brazil, they have all things like,
This extends to if you have a timer, your dryer can go on during the day.
Well, when you're timing, you're not, it's called wet cooling, you're not on touching Shabbos. So you put it on before Shabbos. This happens when people have young children, you know, a lot of laundry. So all you gotta do is just throw it into the dryer right before Shabbos. I see when, you know, I don't have such young children, but the grandchildren come, I see this is what my daughter-in-law's doing. You know, just goes into the dryer right before Shabbos and they have a fresh clothing.
So why wouldn't that work for the uncooked cholent? I know it's gonna dry or I know it's gonna cook.
Food is dangerous. Food, truthfully, food is me'ikar d'mitter. Because because you're not doing it, it's happening by itself. Chazal were very afraid, if you're gonna smell the shom is not gonna be done the right way, you might just stay the coals and adjust the fire. Clothing, you'll say, okay, it's wet, forget it. We used yesterday's clothing. When it comes to food, we are very sensitive.
So are you allowed to put stuff in the washing machine, before Shabbos?
Right before Shabbat, I mean,
Can you put it in the washing machine? You know you're not going to use it on Shabbos, so
just
put
a
it in.
place to put it, it's occasion.
Then not just put it, but you turn it on.
You can't turn it on.
no, before Shabbos.
Yeah,
Why not?
before Shabbos wash.
And then it sits there the whole Shabbos.
Yeah, there's no problem.
And you can open up and use those dishes.
Dishes, just a wash machine, dishes for sure. There's nothing wrong. Your dishwasher, when you open up, the lights go on and off? The other dishwashers, the lights go on and off.
Yeah, mine does.
No.
Why is wet clothing
Because Chazal said not to touch whether you might squeeze it from the bottom.
If a person has a shiksa, he puts it in the wash, and when she's going to hang it up on a line on Shabbos.
But you have to tell them not to do it, that's not a sign.
But you can't take the clothes out and fold them.
Can't take the, right, this is important what I just asked, you can't take the clothing that you don't need
For Shabbos.
in Shabbos just to fold it, that's a tirch, you're not allowed to. But the housemaid, the house,
The shiksa.
can do it, that's not a problem.
American chicks, not the
Yeah.
Brazilian.
They're allowed to do that, because Elchonon, you're not allowed to do it, but you are, and it's very important, because, you know, some women are very annoyed, the clothing are not folded and not put away. There's no heter, just because she's annoyed to fold the clothing and put it away.
The housekeeper's allowed to.
The housekeeper cannot wash clothing,
She put on
but
the dryer.
she cannot put on the dryers.
Why?
Well, because it's a malacha, put on the dryers, a malacha.
But she could have done it. She could have done it by putting it up on the line, if there was a line.
Yeah, but you just said that's what I'm saying, huh?
Yeah, but that's,
So moist.
it's true, but anyways, let's forget, you're not allowed to let the shiksa. You're not allowed to let the shiksa wash clothing on Shabbos and Chalmai night. People don't know this. Chalmai is really frustrating. That's the most frustrating time. But still, you gotta stop her and say, do not wash the clothing. The Rav is extremely machman. We should put out certain. The Rav is
Chalamoyed?
all over. Chalamoyed too, and the Rav is extremely machman. The Rav says you must stop her.
So by the time you said it so many times, it doesn't go into the head. It's another 30
I know Chalamoyed is the most frustrating.
Is there some
3
sort of
days Yom
rule?
Tov, and this year it's going to be again Sukkot 3 days Yom Tov, and you know the children's clothing, and it is. I
Buy new
know.
clothing.
Rabbi, is there some sort of rule where if you know someone's not going to listen to you, you just don't tell it to them? Because then better they sin, you know, b'shagi.
Yes, but someone comes here wants to know the right thing to do.
I'm not saying someone coming here. Maybe the wife or something they come here.
It depends how you communicate this.
Right.
You learn how to communicate with your wife. Because the truth
Tell her
is,
she can
most
buy new
women-
clothing for the
most
kids
women-
before
You know, most women can tell in the right way, it's not a problem. I myself have people call me up and my wife, speak to my wife. I explain it very nicely. And, you know, depends how we talk to them.
It's a practical thing. If people have enough, you have to
The
have enough
truth
clothing.
is,
That's all it
the
is.
truth is, it's you know, the necessary, you know, the zamama al-chochem, the doichik, the desperation, find ways to deal with it. We are very creative. If you know you can't do it, we'll work around it. You find a way.
What if you have a child who's very attached to a particular item of clothing? And and she's not doing anything unless you wash that clothes.
Hey, you can't do it, what do you mean?
No,
If they
my daughter has a dog, stuffed animal.
You got a second one.
It gets ruined. She's attached
it a
to this
kosher animal?
for 5 years. You will say it. It says she's attached it for 5
Stuffed
years.
cow.
She won't let it go. I mean, if it gets dirty, she's inconsolable. She doesn't have it.
So should I have this?
She can't sleep at it.
Yes, so should I have it? Should I have it?
You gotta get over it sometime.
No, so I'm saying, should have it. It's not such a, there's such coolest for young children, they learn about Muktzeh, but there's such a charges of
They're not for laundry on
laundry and Yom Tov, Chalamoid, Shabbos is a Issid. I know people have the housemates doing. There's no way out. There's really no way out.
So Chalmai is really equal to Shabbos and that.
Yeah.
If they did it, did they get mixed with other clothing?
It doesn't make a difference. And Moshe has a whole shiur about it. You're not allowed to. The question is always, anybody's washing clothing. Can I put in adults' clothing? You're not allowed to.
Because the hedge is only for the kids'
So
clothes.
kids go. Kids will make clothing very dirty quickly. That's you're allowed to wash. That's young children. But so the question is that I'm here. All I'm going to do is put my shirts in and the blouse and Normally, I don't know, but normally in my neighborhood how it works is the maid comes, calaboy, and does the laundry. Took me years to knock it out of people's heads, but I don't do that.
So if you dropped off clothes to the dry cleaners, Erev Yom Tov, we talked about this in the last section, but they could have done it. They could have done it that
If you gave them time to do it before,
you have to give them time to do it before. You have, like this year, it's Thursday, Friday, Shabbos.
so if you give it Wednesday an hour before, it takes just an hour to do the things. They could have. If you give it 10 minutes before, you're right.
Well, you have to not care when you get it
Yeah,
back.
you don't care. You tell them don't care when I get it back. But if you say deliver 10 minutes before I'm coming this Sunday morning, you have a problem. But if you just give it an hour before to an hour and a half, they just not going to do yours because, I said the story over. One of the people, my neighbor, has told me that her daughter wanted a certain dress for Yom Tov. And she put it in, at Yom Tov in the morning. I says, we have too much work. Just gave it, here's an extra $10. Just make sure it gets done. And they got done, the extra $10, not so much fun. The Yiddish, there's a saying, what a little money cannot do, a lot of money can do always. The $10 did the job. You know what I'm saying?
But if you give it on Thursday and you tell them to do it whenever, you know they're gonna do it the next
That's
few
all right,
days.
perfect, okay. I didn't tell them. I cannot give it Thursday and say to them,
You want it Sunday morning.
I want someone wants Shabbos, let's say now. Yeah, I give them 10 minutes before Shabbos. If you think, I don't know how long it takes, an hour or whatever, you give it them 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Shabbos, it's not enough 4, but you have 3 o'clock, and an hour's time to go before Shabbos, you can say, I'll pick it up before Shabbos. Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed the point. On the clothesline, if I take wet clothing before Shabbos, I put it on the clothesline. It's not.
So the clothesline, it's okay before Shabbos, there's no matter sign, but the only problem is before Shabbos is that when you take off, how I forgot what's called those clips. The clothes clips is a kedish machbelesa. So rather pull off the clothing, but if you can't, it's a tzedek from the kohen. And it's
You say this a few times, Rabbi Tauber, but it
Doesn't
doesn't make
say.
that difference. He says, "Chatchila can do
doesn't speak about it, but there's a right. I think another place doesn't speak.
Because remember, he said that was clear.
Clothesline that it's in the backyard and it's over grass, it's drying, it's drying, it's dripping onto the grass.
You put it on before Shabbos, that's okay.
Oh, yes.
That's okay. I thought the young generation doesn't know about clothesline.
I saw it at Fishman's house.
Okay. Okay, this number men's sign is very, very important. He says, Kira shenishmeka achas, we have to say. A kira was a sort of like a stovetop, or it was a tripod, whatever it was. One of the legs broke, he says. I'm going to change the story to eyeglasses. They have, I don't know what this was, they have a certain thing they used to put the pots on, It's a tripod, it's called, right? And what happened was, one of the legs break, you can't use it, the one says, because you might fix the leg. And putting back the leg in such a place is tikkumona yechayim, it's mamish and this and that.
Like my, at the table.
You know, this table breaks you can't fix, but I remember as a young guy didn't have these fancy tables.
Yeah, you like it.
Their leg was very easy to put back a leg. You know, this breaks, this is, you know, but I'm saying, so what is the eyeglasses? It's very frustrating, extremely frustrating when the eyeglasses break. But if your thing breaks, let's say, what it's called the side, like the eyeglass pops out, so the whole eyeglasses become Muktzeh. Because you might just take the glass and pop it back in. Or you might take the, what do you call it in English? Temple. So you might take this temple and just put it back in. And people do it all the time. People, you know, I mean, you need glasses, unfortunately, many of us do. It's terrible without glasses. And you are desperate, you will fix it.
So popping the lens back in,
Is an Issa Daraisa.
is that like putting the screen back in?
It's like it's tikkumuna. Now some hold that it's not a daraisa. Some hold you to make it a daraisa you have to screw the screw in.
Make it kavua.
But at the bottom everyone agrees it's also what? It's tikkumuna, makaba patish. Fixing a case is a makaba patish.
You can have a goy put it?
You can have a goy put it because it's a shuz the shuz. Maybe it's not. But it's extremely terrible for people wearing glasses, not have glasses.
If you're out and you
It's
have,
hard to go.
if you have really bad eyesight and you're out, it's dangerous to walk without glasses.
Don't walk. Stay home.
No, you're just, is
There's
it,
no head to because I want to walk out and stay home.
so you can't use it like bifocals because you have one in. I mean, not bifocals, I mean like you have one in, you can see with one. It's because you might put the other one in.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, that's the something.
That's the problem. You're gonna fix it. I've seen people fix it. I mean, a guy once told me many years ago that I heard someone told me the Rabbi says you're not allowed to fix it. But how can I walk without I fixed it? What am I gonna do? Okay, when you need glasses, I always have extra pair of glasses for that.
Yeah, but that would apply to a lens, but not just a
The same thing this. If this falls out the screw, people will fix it. All
Unless
the
you
time.
lost that.
Now, if you lost it, the screw. No. Today you could have people have
No,
screws.
whatever the screw, you lost the,
Or better, you don't have those. It broke, there's nothing to fix. If if this broke in
I
half,
have a pair of, my back of glasses is missing one of the sticks.
yeah, so you're not gonna
If I
fix it.
can't find my regular guys, I'll throw them on, just, you know.
Right, but
in
the
half.
reason it's okay is because you can't fix it. So if it breaks in a way but it's not fixable, then it's not broken.
So people are walking around with little glasses screws. They're hard to find, you know?
Yeah, let's say people come out. I
I'm
have
saying if
it.
you lose your
They
screw.
put it on a safety pin, what's up to
I have at home. I have at home.
Scotch tape.
I have at home. Put away because this glass is not the glass pair. I had always used to fall out of the screw, and when I finally found a place that sells it, the screws.
Every drugstore has like these little kits with little screwdrivers.
Really, that's what I have. A little
It's on the
kid.
counter, right?
I have a little kit and have it in case the screw falls out. And that's why I have an extra pair of glasses because it's. As someone told me, it's a thing in Murphy Law. If it's going to happen, it will happen. I'm sure it happened to most of us. You always remember Shabbos broke. You know, you think my glasses don't break Shabbos. It breaks all the time. With Shabbos, you remember. The washing machine never breaks air Shabbos. It breaks all the time. And it breaks Friday. That's what your wife remembers it. There's no.
Is it because it's a sar double that you can have a boy do it?
What?
You said you can have a boy
The
fix
reason
it.
it's a tsar Google and according to song, right? It's a terrible. People don't need glasses and they can't.
If somebody's wearing glasses that are very small prescription,
then it's not a head no.
there's no hazard.
People who like, you have very strong, I have not so strong, but people who really have strong things, they feel incapacitated because of nothing. So that's a glad for the going. It's like it's our new so to say.
So if a pair breaks, what, and you
So
have
the
an
breaks
extra
in a
pair-
way that it might be fixable. But if this breaks in half, there's nothing you can do right now.
But if it's fixable, you can't do anything.
You can't, then the whole thing becomes Muktzeh.
So you can't even touch it.
Can't touch it.
So, but can you take an extra pair with you as a levush?
When you
I mean, an extra pair of glasses, you said you have
Yeah, I have extra piece of glass at home that in case.
Is that, do you carry it on Shabbos?
Where are you gonna take it, with your pocket? No.
Can you carry it?
Unless there's Eid, unless you rely on Eid, but no. Just saying, practical speak, but if only if, see why I have extra paper, because I remember this thing used to fall out the screw, and I went to the guy and asked him.
If you have an extra pair, does that make the broken ones not muktzeh?
No, it does muktzeh because it happens in shul, I'm not at home.
No, at home. So you're at home,
But stuff is all the mixture after something that, I'm just for practicality having an extra pair, but a nice, but if again, if it breaks in a way that there's no way you can fix it, then it's not muktzeh. But which is very common, the glass pops out, no? That's not common?
Yes. That's like God created contact, so you won't have a problem with glass.
Yeah. Sure, contact is not a problem.
Does that apply to all, let's say, obviously the eyeglasses, let's say someone has like a device for a shoe to make it walk better, let's say that breaks. Would they be able to fix that, or would they
And leg brace.
let's say a leg
Some people
brace.
need leg braces to walk.
Very good, this is very good you brought it up. And it's so, I don't know why, but they talk about it, there's someone's in the Shiurim, because I see the new carriages, my grandchildren are not so cheap to make the wheels just fall off. But you guys are young, the wheels just pop off with these small carriages?
No.
Any kind of carriages like cars.
But, it doesn't
Big wheels.
Doesn't pop up. I seen the Elchonon today that the talk in Israel they're very cheaply made, flimsy made. So if the wheel falls off, they say the whole thing becomes muktzeh. You might just pick it up and fix it down. The whole thing becomes muktzeh. So they say Hilchos to have the baby inside. What are they going to do now? So you're allowed, since you're holding and moving it, you're allowed to keep on pushing it.
Without any of the books in your hand. That you
Yeah,
can-
that's that. But anything that breaks, easy to break, and it's
Easy
easy
to
to fix, then the whole thing becomes muktzeh.
Like the awning on a stroller. Like sometimes it has like a thing that pops up. Pops in.
Why is it?
Well, the awnings, if it pops off and it pops on, they can't put it back on anyways. That's a problem of oil on Shabbos.
There's no, it's called tikkun mana. It works without it. It's made like a
No, it's not taking on. It's made to pop in, pop out, right?
like for rain.
No.
What about the wheel, what
No,
about
it's
the
not
wheel?
meant to pop in,
It's
pop
not
out.
that, man. It just breaks and it's muktzeh.
But the wheel of a stroller that can pop in and out, and it's made that way.
It's made that way, then it's not. Then it's if it's made that way, then it's only the bottom of if it's tightly fit. We'll later learn that all of the Shiurim. But I don't believe it's made that way.
You have
I
these
believe it's
strollers.
just-
No. I'm not talking about like the mountain buggy strollers with the bigger with pneumatic, the air pneumatic wheels. You push a little button and it pops right off. It's meant to pop
It's
off.
meant to come off so that you can.
Put it in your
Oh,
truck.
put it in your trunk.
Yeah, it's a fold it or if you want to pump it up or whatever. They come on and off pretty
Easily.
made that way. It's not.
Yeah, but when it's
Like you
on,
push
it's
a
very
button and it
tight.
slides right off.
And it's very tight.
It's not very tight. It's meant to, when it's on, it's
And then when you slide it back on, it clicks into place.
But you can only use it when the tire
There's
is
no
on.
screws. There's no screws.
Then
there's
it's
no
okay. If there's no screws, then it's okay.
No, listen, why is that Rabbi Tauber? You
They
just-
learn that.
You cannot use it without it. Since you can.
No, it's made out. It's like a Lego. It's made out.
It's
They
made
learn. They learn the Shi'it Gimel that something that doesn't work with screws. It's made to pop in and pop out. You can fold, like you say, fold it into the car. It's made to pop out to take the wheels off.
So what about a table where the legs are like it's just cut in? You can just pop the leg.
Like these tables. These are good. These tables, the tables go in and out.
No, but that's different. This is if
If
you have the old tables, wooden table has maybe a hole where the leg goes in and the table's sitting on top of it. It's not screwed in.
It was with the screw. I remember those little tables.
But once the screw's gone, let's say the screw's gone, can you just put the leg back on?
If the screw's gone and you can use that way, it's okay. You don't have the screw, but if you have the screw, I'm afraid you can screw it together.
But you can't pop in back the wheel because that would build.
No, you can't. If it's made to take off and take out. I don't know, but like I showed you, but the way you're describing it, you use it, put it into the car, you pop it off.
There's a whole other issue with those straws because the tires you have to pump up
With ear.
with air.
not
And
always.
so not always, but once you do where the tires go flat sometimes.
Those go flat?
Yeah, but you can still push it with.
Outdated.
They do, but you can still push it when it's
Pay
flat.
attention to the
So what's your question, whether you can pump it on Shabbos?
No, since you might pump it on Shabbos,
What's wrong with pumping it on Shabbos?
you're taking money, you're making it functional.
That's called tikkun.
Well, what is the pumping doing?
Well, makes it,
Making it
you
usable.
can't use it without, if it's a flat, you can't use it. That's called tikkun on.
You use it just a little.
I use my kid's stroller every Shabbos,
And
and
it,
it pushes, but it would push better if the tires were a little full. You know, like,
that's true, but if it's totally flat, you cannot use it, right?
it's totally flat, no.
So that's
It's
tikkun
never
on.
totally flat, it's like, you know, it's not, full.
They're like car tires. They have
Oh,
tires
look at
with
that.
tubing and stuff.
Transit
Bike.
meaning, so what do we say, if it's totally flat, that would be a problem, but if it's not totally flat, and you're using it anyhow,
Once you tell me that there is no air in it, you cannot use it.
If
So
it's
there's a
not.
little air, a lot of air, it's gonna be us. No one's gonna make a difference, you're not allowed. I don't know, if you're saying, if you're describing it, that without air it's not usable.
I'll give you an example, let's say you have a basketball, and it bounces and you can play with it. But, you know, it's a little low on air, you wanna pump it up so it
If
bounces
it's
well.
basketball, low on air, you can't play with it. Even I, who don't play basketball, can tell you.
No, if the kids are already playing with it, I'm saying.
They're bored, they have no other ball.
Right.
No. I'm saying, I don't know how it works this weird. If it's not usable, you know, when it's totally not usable, the way it seems to me,
But
then
it
it's a
is
problem.
usable.
You're saying it's a problem with the cloud to even use these strollers?
No. He's asking, what happens if the ear is not in it? Can I use it now? I'm not afraid you can fill it up.
Okay, so you're not saying that just because it's a tire that needs to be pumped, there's a charge, maybe.
No, we can't
okay,
make it
that's-
all.
There's no issue.
No.
Okay.
The question is, he was asking if it's low on air. Well, you know, we can't make such a thing that if after a while we become low on air, you're gonna go fix it in Shabbos, and that's what, we don't make such a service, no. Right now, when something is not usable, we're talking the glasses, we're afraid very much. That would be low on air, you knew it before Shabbos, you didn't take care before Shabbos, you take care of it next week. You know,
So what about the leg brace? You can or can't fix it?
leg brakes, there's such a thing. It's a brakes, can it easy to fix?
What?
It's easy to fix.
No, you have
with
these
brakes.
leg braces that people need to wear to walk. You know,
Let's
they
say
bring
he had surgery and he needs to wrap his leg in a brace of water. And
These
it's
metal and plastic.
down his brace, he's gonna rebend the bar and stick it back.
That's a problem. That is the same
There's the
problem.
eyeglass. Or
Same
how
problem
many
with
hearing
eyeglasses.
aids? How many guys are in hearing aid, and hearing aid falls out and we can't hear anything with that, and he's not allowed to fix it.
That doesn't break, that doesn't make it falls
The
out.
battery
Let's say the
falls out.
battery falls out.
The battery falls out, that's a whole
Stuff.
much, well,
You have no glasses from hearing, no.
yeah, if you hold, not everyone agrees, I'm gonna tell you something shocking. There's a big question, are you allowed to put a battery into hearing aid or not? The Welt accepted it's awesome. Not everyone agrees to this.
Why would it be mutter?
Why would we Muktzeh? Because which Halacha is being done? Are we trying to find the Halacha?
It's electricity.
Create
It's
a
like turning a
What
battery.
exactly you
It's
do?
like turning a light on.
A light is, there is a Halacha in a light. It's like a filament, like it's heated and it's called a beige. What is a hearing aid? But let me explain.
It would be the same as a
Well,
light
it says
bulb.
making function is such a terrible thing, but it's accepted, it's awesome. Why am I saying this? That you can always ask your guy to fix it, to put it back in. People have asked me this. Who have hearing aid.
Anything that might be mutter.
And anything which is not 100% awesome, the kid, you can tell the guy to put it in.
So if I have a
I have a
fan,
guy in my shul, I'm a young man, who has a hearing aid. And one time he came to shul and asked me this. I said, there's no problem, like you told the guy to put it in. What'd you say?
But if there is no goy, then no one can do it.
It's accepted, it's also, to put in hearing aid.
if you have a fan that's or anything that's battery run, you're saying that there's
The
a
question is which halacha is being done. So many hold it's tikkumuna, many of it make like he just said, make something working. We're trying to find the halacha.
if
It's
you have a
accepted.
battery operated clock. You're saying that
Well, the light goes
theoretically-
on. You get the light. Let's say something that no light goes on. That's what I'm thinking. Nothing with the light.
what's the difference?
The watch with the
A
battery.
watch.
The battery fell off.
Battery makes the watch work. What is exactly what you did? So some claim that it's a tikkumuna. Okay, let's say it's a tikkumuna. Some want to say it's a deraisa. There is they claim there's a prima godam, we'll later learn. Hopefully they want to say it's a deraisa. Many achronim disagree. But let's accept that it's awesome. You know, I don't want to. But since the Arham hold it's not Isser, so then you can tell it go. really awesome, unanimously, everyone says it's awesome, you can't tell a guy, it's Issa D'Oraisa. It's not even sure it's an awesome, mostly it's an Issa D'Rabbanan, you can tell a guy to do it.
Rabbi, can you finish really quick with the strollers? You know how to put one ear in the stroller on Shabbos, or you want?
You're not a use.
I use my stroller every Shabbos. Every Shabbos as I push it, every Shabbos as I push it, I think to myself, I really need more air in these tires. And I go and I push my kids to stroll. So I'm saying, if I stop and I say, you know what, let me just put that extra air in there. My stroller is totally usable. And not only is it usable, the Haraya, I do use it every single Shabbos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that it does make a difference. If, let's say, if the air goes down totally, is it usable?
Barely, yeah. You have to use a lot of strength to push it.
You wouldn't
It's
use
never
it.
been that
You
way.
had no, if it was
I
flat,
would ask
it
you
would have been
honestly,
that way.
your wife tells you there's no air in the thing, take the baby in the stroller. Oh no, I'd rather walk with the baby than take the baby in the stroller. It's a real headache. So, then putting in the air is a tikkun. It's like one of these things, making something work, making something viable.
But it's already in a position where it is working. You're just making it better.
I'll explain this. Let me explain what this. Let me explain to you what this whole thing is about. There is if you remember the good old days, they used to have a watch that used to wind. I heard it came back into style.
You pay a lot of money for it.
Yes, I was recently told, I have a guy who has a collection of watches all the time. Told me recently that's back in style. Expensive watches that you have to wind. Anyways, so the question was, in the good old days, that wasn't so long ago, if you're allowed to wind the watch, if it's not working. Because you really don't do nothing. You know how it used to work? There's the thing, there's a tension over the thing. So there were two shittas in the Halacha. Some of them, mamish marke b'patish yichayv chatas. Why is it marke b'patish? All you do is turn it. So there was extreme. I remember after somehow that Yont of Sheni, there was one of the things you always do, Yont of Sheni.
You could turn the watch.
You could turn the watch. As a child, you always remember Yont of Sheni, because you have to wind it every 24 hours. Remember those watches? So I remember Yont of Sheni, they always told us you could wind. Some hold, I remember the shit. Some hold it's mamish, you make it something work, it's marked with patches, it's a watch. It's like, by screwing, just making tension. You're not, so they hold it, it's okay. That's a machlokes. Then there was another machlokes. The one who holds it so extreme that it's so terrible, when it's working, can I wind it then?
No.
Understand? That was another question. Somehow, even though that if it's going to stop, it's a melucha d'oraisa, but right now it's going to malach. So the same thing would depend on this, what you're saying. So if you hold that it's not reusable, the wheel, so putting in air, according to those opinions, is d'oraisa. Tell me it's anyways usable, then you have another machlokes. By the watch, if it's usable, then you cannot wind it. You tell me it's taka usable, you can't say you're not allowed to put it in the air. You understand? But over there also, remember, not everyone accepted it. I would tell people not to do it, because once you tell you put it in a little air, they'll put it when there's no air also do it. That's what's going to happen. That's really what these things happen.
So where did it come out of the watch?
What do you say?
Where does it come out of the watch?
The watch, Baruch Hashem, we don't have a call.
Look, the Tauber says earlier, there's many watches expensive that the movement is winding it.
Automatic.
I don't know what it's called.
And automatic.
Can you actually go over there?
Whatever assignment on this shit, that once it's working,
You can wear it.
you can wear it. They were saying,
But if it's off, you can't even pick it up because by you picking it up, it's
so I'm saying that there's extreme. Somehow that's an issa that I say mamish chayv chatas. Somehow they don't get carried away that much. So the same thing with air. But the reason why I would tell people not to do it, to be honest, because I watch. I give you a quick motion. The question is, you have these timers. People always ask me, to take it out. The air conditioner should not go on, or yes, go on.
You're not doing anything.
So you're not doing really anything. But what I found was that people would, you say it out to, they would take it out, make it earlier come. Let's say the air conditioner is supposed to go on much later, so you're allowed to take out the pin, the air conditioner should not go off. And you hold it, people would mix things up, and they were mamish do malacha. Since then, people ask me,
No.
I say no. I watched already, we say, these things are too complicated.
Because you can pull the pin out, but you can't pull it out and put it back in.
Right.
That's right.
Okay,
Exactly.
earlier.
And I noticed, I told people, when I was young, I used to tell you how to put it out, and then all of a sudden I found they pulled it out and put it into,
An hour earlier.
an hour earlier. So that's why, just this Shabbos, the Shu called me up Friday, and the Gabbai, they want to know that, you can't do that.
How is making it go earlier on Halacha?
Going on earlier,
If
because
you change, if you.
On
going on
Shabbos.
earlier, making it, that's called a grummy, making something go on quicker. And if you hold a grummy going out, it's the same thing, there's a grummy.
That's not for Shabbos. You would do that.
On Shabbos, the guy asked me on Shabbos, he wants to put out the pin.
You could do that.
That shouldn't go on. So you're allowed to put out the pin, it shouldn't go on. But the next thing he does, he puts out the pin, it should go on earlier.
Well, what happens when I'm unplugging it out of the wall? In other words, it's on a timer. It's going to go on.
Unplugging the.
Now there's nothing happening. Out the air conditioning, there's no.
Oh, that's the same question.
But here you-
Same question. That same question, because theoretically the old air conditionings, it didn't go on yet, the time is going to go on, you gotta unplug it. Why that don't know a pialoch? It's perfectly okay. It's a kedish nachtarisa, and you're afraid that the weather changes, it's too cold. But I found, you tell them to unplug it, they plug it in, they don't sit there, that's since.
So on these old-fashioned thermometers, there is mercury in it, and everything, and
Speak up a little
you were
bit.
able to adjust it, that it didn't go anywhere and then turned on later or earlier. So there's nothing to do with time.
There's nothing to do with time, that's a separate.
So you can do it both
You
ways.
cannot do it because
Cannot
that's.
do it at all?
No, because he's talking about the old mercury,
That's so old.
let's keep us loud. So those ones, what you're doing is you're causing it to go on earlier. Most places come over, hopefully we get to it one day, and it's called a
Well, I can blow cold air on it. I can put ice on it. It's gonna go later. What's the malach?
Well, put ice there, what?
Yeah, put it ice in a bag. I put it on it. The air is gonna be cold. It's then gonna go on.
So you accelerate.
It's okay to do that. You're allowed to do that. But the problem is once you tell a person to move it, they don't know.
But then I can do the opposite. Take hot water, put it right under it. It's gonna go on immediately.
Then who says you're allowed to do that?
I'm asking.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. The problem is, let me explain.
What's
to you.
the problem?
Let me, we don't have the time, but let me tell you the big problem about this. The biggest problem is, I think I mentioned it, that many people don't open refrigerators. They open the refrigerator, and so I always ask them, do you live in New York, in Chicago, or Toronto? How do you walk into, how do you live in Toronto? I mean, there's no way to walk into the house, because you walk into the house, the cold blast air goes right in, and then the steam is going to go. So you have to say that with such a cases that a gruma is mitter. That's what you have to say.
That's a cool.
That's a kula because it's an indirect gruma. Later I'll hopefully explain this. The direct gruma is indirect gruma. What you're doing is, you know what gruma means? Causing. When I'm going out and I'm living in New York and it's freezing cold in Toronto and open the door and the cold plastic comes in and the thermos goes on, it is an indirect cause. I didn't think about it. It wasn't my idea. I'm just coming into the house. By putting ice there or heat there, that's a direct, that's literally a direct cause that you do. That's why it's that grumman is. The problem is by putting out the pins, often you don't want the air conditioner to go on, just pull out the pin. The biggest problem is I know people from there put on the pins. The Rabbi said you can play with the pins. Yeah, that's true. I just noticed it. People, it's in halacha when the things are very easy to make a mistake, you make a mistake.
So theoretically, if the heater hasn't gone on yet, if it's a hot day, can you lower the heater?
Theoretically, yes. The heater hasn't gone on, you could lower the heater. Theoretically speaking, yes.
Or once it's turned on.
Because they're not doing anything, just making sure it's not going to go on.
You're delaying it.
Delaying. So you could delay it going
But I want to say, I'm not saying you're allowed to. I'm explaining.
When you're ready.
This thing you're allowed to. And the next thing I find out, that people said the rabbi said you're allowed to touch the pray with the thermometer. I heard a guy telling me, you said. My own shul, like I did with the mama, so they told me that I should sweep their
Okay.
faces. but-
Rabbi, look at how long it's here, this is not for Amaratza.
No, but, you know, there's
We're
such
looking
a,
at how long, what is the halacha?
there's such a thing in Shulchan Aruch, when it's easy to make a mistake, you know, I'll say, cool, it says clear in Shulchan Aruch, such a thing.
Rabbi, we need the stenographer. Right, writes everything down.
People hear,
But they want to hear.
I once said in my shul, I'm gonna say it cool over here, I guarantee you I'm gonna be misquoted. And I was misquoted. Doesn't, you know, people like to hear what they hear. Someone came to me saying to me that I said you're allowed to steal the newspaper in front of a guy's house. Because I explained.
And he has weaknesses.
No, I explained, if it's put in your house, I explained why there's no Issa, there was no Kenyan, so he said I'm allowed to go down the block and collect everyone's newspaper.
Mitzvah.
Okay.
The stock was taken from the guy's mailbox, he photocopied the tax. That was okay, no?
It's okay, people do it.
I